Alright, I just saw Kaguya-sama Love is War, the first kiss that never ends. This is the first movie outing for the Kaguya-sama series after 3 seasons of absolutely incredible rom-com storytelling. It's no secret on this channel that I am a huge fan of Kaguya-sama, much like many other people in this fandom. Did an entire video on why Season 3 is one of the greatest anime arcs of all time. You can go check that out on the main channel. But today we are talking about the movie, which takes place directly after Season 3. So, I don't know why you're here if you're not caught up on Kaguya-sama, but we're going to have spoilers for the first 3 seasons. Not the movie, though, for the most part. I'll keep the spoilers to the absolute bare minimum. But, so this takes place directly after Season 3. End of Season 3, we get the big, huge romantic kiss between Kaguya and Shirogane. And then basically we spend this entire movie in the define the relationship stage. It's gonna be one of those. And man, they do some pretty off the wall shit, some pretty complex shit, and some really endearing and thoughtful shit. If nothing else, Aka Akasaka, the manga writer, is just very intensely clued in to this concept of love and relating to another person. And this movie takes this to the logical conclusion that we kind of start to just barely unravel in Season 3. For as much as Season 3 does, it still doesn't tackle the whole picture quite yet. And I will be as vague as possible with this, just to give you an idea of what this movie is about. This movie is about the faces that we put on for other people and how we present ourselves to other people. In particular, the person that we are attracted to, the person that we are in love with, the person that we want to get closer to. This is a movie about hiding parts of yourself that you think that other person won't accept. And this movie discusses how viable an option that is. It's a very tried and true rom-com trope across all mediums, anime, live action, all cultures pretty much. But it's still done incredibly well here. Although I will say, this movie in particular really gets as close as possible on riding the line of just straight up romance drama. So, if you are like absolutely opposed to that 100%, this movie really starts treading the line on that, because Kaguya-sama really didn't do much of that in its first 3 seasons. But I think it's kind of important for it to do it here, because even at the very end of Season 3, they still have that will they, won't they puzzlement to them between Shirogane and Kaguya. They still are trying to get the other person to say how they really feel. They're still trying to coax this confession out of them, even though they've already kissed graphically. But I think this movie really answers the questions that are not fully answered at the end of Season 3 in a very smart, very thoughtful ways that really cut through as much of the bullshit as it possibly can to finally push these two characters to say what they really want to say. But it's not all drama, of course. This is a rom-com, after all. And yeah, this is still just as hilarious as the rest of Kaguya-sama. I actually watched this in a packed theater. This might be the most packed anime screening I've ever seen. Maybe Battle of Gods back in 2014 or 2013 or whatever was a little more. But this was a packed theater, and everyone was laughing their fucking asses off. It was quite a sight to see. I will admit that it does have a little bit of a ramp-up period, but there is a joke with Kashiwagi probably about 5-10 minutes into the movie. I'm not exactly sure. There's a Kashiwagi joke in there that just immediately flips the switch, and you're like, oh, right, this is Kaguya-sama, one of the most hilarious anime of all time. And, man, the jokes, they just keep coming. They just keep on coming. It is so intensely funny while still being intensely romantic and intensely emotional. This actually might have one of the most, speaking of the romantic, this might have one of the most sensual scenes that I've seen from Kaguya-sama yet. It involves the classic trope of you've got something on your face. The thing they do in that scene, I was leaning forward in anticipation of like, holy shit, this is hot. Yeah, this is still Kaguya-sama. This is still really good anime rom-com. I will say, though, this is still Kaguya-sama to a fault to some degree, because they still include those little, like, eye catches that you see at, like, you know how in the TV anime they had the eye catches at the halfway mark for the commercial break? They do that a lot in this movie. I think it's like 5 or 6 times, probably even more. So unfortunately, this movie is not beating the just a bunch of manga chapters smashed together allegations. Unfortunately, it really does. A lot of the times, it really does feel like that. Now it's Kaguya-sama, so there's nothing inherently bad about that, because every single moment is super engaging and fun. It just has this very, very slight pacing issue to it as a result of the way it's structured. That was always going to be the case with this movie, I think, but I don't think I would have preferred it as a TV series, because it's got all this information right there in one big chunk, and I think that was the best way to deliver it. Unfortunately, I haven't read the manga, but I could see from the anime, from the movie that I just saw, that there was some cut content, because this is 90% Kaguya and Shirogane. This is like very intensely focused on them, and there was essentially a moment where it clued you in on some the fact that some Ishigami content got cut, which will hopefully show up in a potential season 4. I don't think they've announced season 4 yet, but I don't see why we wouldn't get one at this point, because this show is printing money. But yeah, this is very much the Kaguya and Shirogane show for this film, which I'm not opposed to, because they look really good together. Speaking of looking really good, holy fucking shit. Still Kaguya-sama, still one of the best looking rom-com anime out there. Interestingly enough, this is probably the most sakuga that I've seen from Kaguya-sama. There are like just some straight up chase scenes and action scenes in this movie that just the way they move and the way the camera work and the choreography of this stuff is just so fun and energetic. And it still has, on top of that, it still has those classic Kaguya-sama moments of just blasting you with this weirdo color design that just fits so fucking well, and messing with the aspect ratio constantly. It's just So damn good at that. I would say this is very slightly above the quality of the TV series, only because the TV series is already so immensely high quality. So I wouldn't say that this is movie quality animation, but it is a step up from the TV series. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say on Kaguya-sama. This movie is really damn good. Easily one of my favorite things that I've seen this year so far. It really treads the line on some things, and it's not beating the manga chapter smashed together allegations, but I'm never going to stop liking Kaguya if this is the ideas that it's going to keep throwing at you. These really intensely deep ideas about love and romance, and really finally saying what the fuck you want from your partner or potential partner. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from this film. I think I'll give this one probably a light to decent 9. Somewhere in that area. Not quite as high as seasons 2 and 3 for me, but I would definitely put it a little above season 1, I think. Yeah, this is just really damn good movie. Might go and see it again tomorrow. Just because I loved it so much. And also because the guy next to me wouldn't shut the fuck up. But that's it for this video. Next is probably going to be, I think it's The Tunnel to Summer, which is a Tomohisa Taguchi movie. Or you might see my thoughts on Pokemon Journeys next on this channel. Who knows? But in any case, my name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.